what's up guys? Another video from me sharing behind the scenes of the building process of Glorify 3.0. We've been going through so many iterations of our new editor, it's absolutely unreal. I mean, one might think, why can't we just create a very simple UX by referencing other companies? And oftentimes people refer to Canva as their favorite example. Of course, that's expected, right? They are the unicorn giant in the space. However, we've discovered that Canva has a fundamental UX problem that works for their users, but not specifically for our vision. And the problem is that their UX has limited scale. They have to hide a lot of their feature set, behind hidden buttons and less discoverability. And that's not the ideal workflow for our target, which includes professional designers and non-professionals alike, people starting out. And we feel that this product philosophy will allow much more powerful collaboration between two polar opposite user segments. So it really is about, allowing both ease of use for non-designers as well as unlimited creative freedom for professional designers. So let me show you exactly what this process looks like. Every day we're quite active on Slack and we just kind of bash it out remotely. We are a remote first company after all. But let me just show you what we've got going on. Very early on, we created this question process. Every UI UX decision should pass the fail-proof test. Is it easy enough for non-designers? If yes, continue. If no, will it distract them from completing their task? If no, continue. If yes, iterate. Is it useful, attractive for professional designers? If yes, continue. If no, iterate. Does it help get better results for marketing design? If yes, continue. If no, iterate. This was our philosophy since last year, and we've been sticking to this design process continuously. Now, when it comes to this design fail test process, despite us having all the perfect customer avatars with our team that we're targeting, entrepreneurs, marketers, and designers, sometimes we don't get the actual data we need within our team itself. So what we end up doing is going to the prototype phase where we create a Figma prototype concept. We upload it to a platform called Maze, which allows you to get users to test this concept and give you feedback and data so you actually know exactly which direction to take. So let me show you how this works. You might already know that we have in our edit panels these drop-down user interface. The way it works is that if you want a specific setting or you want to tweak something of the selected element, you click the drop-down and you get all the settings necessary to edit that element, right? From a performance edge in development, it actually slows down the editing function. We also discovered other issues with the users. After studying our user data, a lot of users actually were fearful of clicking these toggles. These toggles, essentially what they did was switch off the feature if you don't want it just temporarily, but it would actually retain the settings that you already added. But users were scared if they clicked this, that would actually lose the settings completely. So we realized this was not a great concept to go with. So we're actually losing the toggles. We're losing the chevrons or the drop downs to show and hide the settings, and we're going with what we call an add approach. So the add approach looks like this. Basically, you come to the feature that you want, you click the add icon, and then it adds the feature that you want. If you want to remove it, you click the minus, or you click the hide button if you want to hide it temporarily. Does this work for non-designers? Are non-designers comfortable with this approach? And we were afraid of that because we knew that non-designers enjoyed our previous kind of drop-down approach. They were comfortable with this. They liked the idea that they can hide settings once they're done with it. But could they understand what the plus approach was? And the final decision making was that overall the expanded approach reached a 7.4 score, and the add approach was an 8.6 score. By the way, this is between a 31% attributed to professional designers. So the majority were not actually professional designers. So it gave us clear data, what people were comfortable with. So the add approach works. However, we thought, can we improve it further? There was a significant amount of people that actually felt that a plus icon can have multiple meanings and intentions. So it seemed that the drop down is more intuitive and clear. And we took that to heart. Even though it was like, let's say 30% of people that felt this way, it's still relevant, right? How can we make it better? And so we went back to the drawing board and we thought, okay, let's try a different approach. Now we move on to the hover and click add approach, right? So this is what it looks like, just a prep before we go into the actual mission at hand, and then the mission starts. First task, hover and click add approach, add a color overlay. So we click get started at the bottom, and the prototype starts. How do we add an overlay? Obviously, it seems clear to us, like what our theory is that you hover over here, and then you see, this entire menu item is hoverable and clickable. So you're not relying on just clicking the add button itself. So it's quite user friendly. And our hypothesis is that any user, if they wanted to look for settings, they would look at this list over here, and it looks like menu items. So you don't necessarily need that plus icon. Hover and add, brightness. So the next one you stack will be done through this button. So you add and choose saturation. And in a similar way, if you want to do shadow, next mission, hover and add. So you see this beautiful highlight over here, shadow, and then again, drop shadow. Those are the tests we did. Now, I'm sure you guys are super curious on which concept actually made the cut, right? And that I'm sharing for when we actually launch Glorify 3.0. So do stay tuned. You'll probably discover very soon, because we're going to be launching Glorify 3.0 in increments. We'll have the first iteration for beta testing around March, April, right? And really excited about that. Now, of course, I won't be taking all the credit when it comes to what goes on behind the scenes with our amazing team at Glorify. So I'd love to turn to some of our team members in how they also helped us through this process to come to our final conclusions. Hey, what's up, guys? We got Nico, our creative director, in the house. We're going to ask him a few quick questions on the process of refining our edit panel for Glorify 3.0. Nico has some very strong opinions. We went back and forth until we came to a final conclusions. Nico, what do you think? How did you feel about our first iteration when we actually had the drop-down approach to chevron, drop-down approach to hide the settings in the beginning?
I think it was a little bit too complicated, and I say that maybe time consuming, because there were too many steps to get to the point. Too many clicks to get something done. That was my first issue with the drop down feature.
But I remember you at some point you said, just for differentiation advantage, you thought, let's keep the drop down. You looked at Figma, you looked at some other competitors. You're like, hey, look, let's be different, right? And
yeah,
what was your decision, like your kind of mind opinion about that at the time?
My idea was to create something that was, as you said, different from our competitors, because nowadays more or less all the UI looks the same. So something that you show our UI and users are gonna say, oh, I know this is glorified. The idea is, yes, we should find something different, but without compromising the usability.
Exactly. So, what was good is that your challenge on differentiation, actually, at least we could have gone with the plus approach similar to Figma, but you put this strong opinion that, okay, we need to differentiate. So we looked back in the drawing board and thought, hey, what if we try a hover and add approach? So we came back to UX team, and then we came back to you about this hover and add approach. How did you feel about that afterwards?
I feel I like it. You know why? Because the add approach, it has as a reference just a plus.
Yeah.
That at the beginning is quite difficult. So to understand that you are basically adding an effect, not for a designer. I'm thinking for like maybe an entrepreneur or a marketer or someone that doesn't use design tools. With the over approach, we have add and the plus.
Yeah.
So straight away, okay, I'm gonna add something to my design, to my element.
And I guess the good thing as well is that it doesn't affect the designers as well. It doesn't reduce the usability of the designer, which is great. And that's what our philosophy is, right? So we're constantly aiming towards that. So, hey guys, we got Vishan, our product manager, in the house, and we're going to just quickly pick his brain on the process that we went through to arrive at our final edit panel. Quick question about the edit panel building process. What was your expectation when we thought, we're going to remove the drop-down approach?
Yeah. So when we started the process, I think we discovered that we had two challenges, right? The number one challenge was to make the edit panel much easier to navigate and more user-friendly with the industry standard, right? And the second challenge was basically making sure that we increase the performance of Glorify for the users to, have a smooth experience in it, right?
Despite this challenge, did you think that removing the drop-down was necessary to achieve this goal?
Yeah, I think ideally, as a designer and using a lot of design tools, I think initially I lean towards the add approach, but it was all based off what our users want. and that's why we did a lot of prototype testing, and made sure our users and our community was behind our decision making.
Yeah. Were you surprised when the community, like, a good amount of non-designers were actually leaning towards the plus approach?
Yes, it was quite surprising. Like when we were doing the prototypes, something that was going through the back of my mind was, will the non-designers, come on board? I think in any revolutionizing decision, I think it's all up to testing, right? And then feedback can be amazing, right? And then we've accomplished our goal, or it can be, people can have mixed reviews, and then we always have the option to revert back. The main goal is making glorify experience amazing for everyone.
Last question, the performance edge. How the fact that do you think we compromise the UX for performance edge in the end?
Not necessarily. I think everything worked out well, even like what we had behind back of our minds as UI UX, as we were doing the UI sprints, what we planned for, and then we had meetings with our dev team and our lead developers. They all validated our the system as well, what we were going for as well, and it kind of all synchronized in a really a beautiful sense, if you would say. So the technology works, the user experience works, and I think we got a winner.
We got our lead developer in the house. Our team lead over here is Vishan. How are you doing, Vishan? How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, really great, really great. Just a quick couple of questions on this process that we had to go through in terms of building the edit panel. You came a few times back and forth saying concerned about the edit panel, potentially having some performance issues. The way it was designed via UX with the drop-down approach, the expandable approach. Can you just tell us a little bit why you felt that the performance edge with that approach would have been affected? As you can see, this process is very meticulous. We don't want to assume anything at any point. We want to make super informed decisions through data, and user behavior is everything. If you want to make the best design product that exists, then we got to know what our users want and how our users feel, right? And this is our path to create the most balanced marketing design tool that exists for both non-designers and professionals alike. The most collaborative content design tool that will exist.